Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're looking at a SOG knife. This is nothing really new. I actually got this probably, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. It's been a long time. This is one that got put on the back burner, then I kind of carried it a little bit, then used it some more. Used it recently, so I figured I'd do a little video on it now. I did save, these come with the big old box, like the big long box. So these are like presented in the open position in the box and like a view window. It's actually really nice packaging, but I threw it out because I don't need packaging for anything. But I did cut this out so you guys can get the quick specs. I was smart enough to save this so you could see. Cryo D2 blade. And again, this one happens to be the partially serrated version of this knife. Kick opener, which, you know, flipper, right? XR lock, ultra grip G10 handle, reverse pocket clip, full steel liner. You can see the actual specs on the bottom there as well. Close 4.6, overall 8, the blade's 3.39, and we got 5.3 ounces. All right, and we also have our specs for the Ford viewers, which is also very nice. So there you go. That's pretty much everything you need to know as far as you know, specifications go. But how did it carry? How did it work? What's it feel like? Is it sharp? All that kind of stuff. This is fantastic. This sells for 80 bucks, $79.95, pretty consistently all over the place. For $80, I have to say it's a fantastic knife. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of partially serrated blades. If I can help it, I just prefer a plain edge blade. I don't mind serrations if they're done right. These are done right. They're not too acute. You know what I'm saying? They're large, wide scallops. So not only are they a little bit easier to sharpen if you happen to do so, but they also don't bind up on stuff. Sometimes when you have like super deep pointy serrations, they just kind of grab material, they don't cut it, especially after you use it for a little bit and they start dulling out. They're also much harder to sharpen. I love serrations if they're a full serrated blade. Like cold steel has always done it right. You know, certain serration patterns too, like let's say CRKT, their VEF serrations, those actually work really well. You know, no problem with that. But anyway, long story short, this knife is actually really nice, right? So we have a flipper on the back. The flipper sticks out a little bit. It's not like super low profile, but we actually have an angled flat face that is jimped. Sorry for the light in this one. It is all black on black. But it's just a perfect position. So when you go to put your finger on it, your finger lands flat on it, that flat face, perfectly. Like you can't miss the thing. I don't know, if you don't open this properly, I don't know what you're doing wrong. But when I just go to rest my finger, it's right there. It's almost like it's on purpose, like someone designed this properly. And all you gotta do is push in. That's it. You don't have to really do like a weird pull down and push in. Or I mean, some flippers I've talked about in the past where they're maybe a little hard, you need a little wrist action with it. No, this is good to go. You just push down, it's angled perfectly to open every time. We have ambidextrous thumb studs, so if you wanna flick it open with the thumb stud, you can certainly do so as well. You can also pull down on their, you know, locking system there, which again is another version of the axis lock. That's all it is. But I do really like this, you know, stepped, you know, kind of pattern here. Let me zoom in on this, give you a little bit of detail up close. So this is obviously something we see on like OTFs. It is a fantastic design. We have a pyramid, right? If I can give you a side version of this, we basically have a stepped pyramid. Right, it's perfect. It works really well. Jimping on the front, jimping on the back. All right, so you can easily manipulate it in either direction. In this case, you don't have to push it up, but as we know with our OTFs, that's what we do. Right, we want to push them up or slide down. It just works really well. Everything you need to do is right there. So once you get your grip on this knife, you can flick it open, you could close it, flick it open, close it, flick it open that way, close it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have all your operating in one grip. Does that make sense? So that makes this fantastic for fidgeting. You know what I'm saying? You're just sitting on your computer desk like I do and maybe editing a video or reading something, who knows what. But you could fidget with this thing. It's super fidget friendly. So the ergonomics are actually fantastic on this knife. All right, we do again have jimping on the blade, on the back of the blade. Yeah, there we go. Hit the light right. And it's a long run of jimping. So if you hold it how it should be held naturally, your thumb's on that jimping. If you choke up a little, it's still on the jimping. If you choke up even more, it's still on the jimping. If you put your pointer finger out here, it's still on the jimping. And you can see there's a finger troll here, but also with this flipper sticking out, it acts as even more of a guard. All right, so your hand's not gonna ride up on accident, hit that blade. The handle is very just ergonomic. It's kind of plain, simple. There's not too many cutouts or anything like that at all. We see we have a 3/4 back spacer on here. There's also jimping on that as well towards the bottom. Pocket clip works really well. This is it's almost like a flattened wire clip. Like it kind of feels like a wire clip, but it's not, obviously. It is a short run. The one thing I will say is it sticks in your pocket pretty good. Not only because we have a textured G10, but because it's a stiff clip. All right, so when you get this in the pocket, or when I put in this pocket, I do the fingernail thing where I put my fingernail just in, at the end of the clip, and as I'm pushing in, I'll lift up just a little to kind of get it started on the pants pocket. Otherwise, I just go to push it in, like just force it in, and it just kind of pushes the pants down. It doesn't always clip. But yeah, I mean, my only critique is that I would like to see a little smooth spot underneath where the clip touches. When people design knives and stuff, sometimes they do it on purpose, so it's not hard, or excuse me, it's not easy to remove from the pocket because they don't want it falling out, right? Not to mention, if you make a smooth spot on that scale, that's another manufacturing process, which adds cost, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You might be like, man, this would be a perfect knife if it had that. But let's say it had that, and it added another $10 on the knife price. Do you want it for $10 more? You know what I mean? Like it's hard. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of factors when it comes down to designing and manufacturing knives. And companies, you might say like, oh, they should have done this, or why didn't they do that? Well, there's a balance because they don't want the knife to be too expensive. They want it to be as cheap as possible, but good quality. They want to be able to sell them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as far as a production knife goes, it's still really fantastic. Now the blade works really, really well. This Cryo D2, or Cryo Treated, I should say, it's not the same as like any old D2, right? So you hear it over, D2, 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 R2D2. It's such a common steel these days, and they're not all created equal. It really depends on how it's being tempered and heat treated. Also, not unrelated to this, but CPM D2 is completely different than D2. The performance is massively different, and how it's made is massively different. You're talking about a powdered metal, piece of steel as opposed to, a manufactured piece of steel that's cut. So it's just different. Maybe that's for a whole nother video, but blade performs very well. Again, for the $80 price tag, I have no complaints whatsoever. The biggest takeaway with this knife, because it's not, I wouldn't say it's chunky, but just its overall feel here, and honestly, to me, it feels like this could have been like a Benchmade. And if it had the little butterfly logo and it was identical, the same materials made the exact same way with the identical design, this would have a $140, $160 price tag on it. And it doesn't have to be, so kudos to SOG for making this an $80 knife. They made a fantastic knife, a very good quality piece. It's actually comfortable to hold and easy to operate and fun. The tolerances are great. I mean, there's no play in any direction. Locks up fantastic, and they did all that, and able to make money selling it for 80 bucks. So thumbs up to them. All right, you can see this is right side tip up carry. If you wanted to, there is a spot there for that flattened, kind of custom looking clip for left side carry. All right, for all the lefties out there. It's funny, I heard recently, it's so bad. And I mean, I apologize in advance to any lefties out there, but I was having a conversation with someone and they said, are you right-handed or wrong-handed? And I went, what? And they said, yeah, there's right-handed and there's wrong-handed. I'm like, left-handed? They're like, yeah, that's wrong. And clearly, that's why most people are right-handed. And I got a good laugh out of it, but I felt a little guilty. I got a lot of friends that are lefties. It's just how it is. You didn't ask to be lefty. Just what naturally came to you, right? But I did think that was funny, so I don't know. I figured I'd mention the video. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is completely ergonomic. That's the whole point. Because we have a flipper that's on the center of the back of the knife, you can easily manipulate it with either hand. But also because our locking mechanism is ambidextrous, our thumb studs are ambidextrous, you got to give the option for the pocket clip. So you can switch that clip over, and it's literally the exact same feel for a left-handed person as it would be for a right-handed person. So that is just always a bonus with a good, production knife. So anyway, that's it. That is the SOG TAC XR. I really dig this one. Again, for the $80 price tag, I think you have a good hard use knife that's comfortable, it's fidget friendly. It's good. It's really nice for the price tag. I really do believe they probably could have charged 120, 140 bucks for this, for SOG anyway. And as I mentioned before, Benchmade could probably ask even more for the exact same thing just because they're popular. But yeah, I like it. I think it was a good design. I would prefer the fully plain edge version of it, but nothing wrong with the combo edge either, And plus it's kind of cool. The black on black thing. I dig it. I kind of stayed away from black for a while and went to different colors and, I get it now. I got all the colorful knives, and nothing beats black on black. It's just cool looking. I will say the coating that they use on this blade is fantastic. This was completely wiped down. I had one big, what I thought was a scratch in the middle, but it wasn't. It was a rub mark. And that completely like buffed out with a little bit of just 3-in-1 oil. That's what I used. I have a ton of different, lubricants and stuff, but I had a little can of 3-in-1, put it on a rag, wiped it down, good to go. So anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.